Hi, welcome back to another episode of Coldstream Rod Shop. I'm Derek Fraser. We're in the middle of building the 32 Ford Roadster body. One of the things, though, we are going to eventually go to work on the two 5-window coupes, but one of the elements I'm going to be putting into the Roadster is these, they're called subframe extensions. And where they go between the subframe and the back corner of the quarter panel here. These have to be fitted and put in. Now, one of the things is that over here, over here on the 5-window coupe, I don't have them. They're basically the same part, but I'm missing them for this 5-window coupe. I made the one piece here, and I'm also going to miss them for the other 5-window coupe. They ultimately have to be made. They cost, I think last time I looked, they cost $195 US each from Brookville, plus shipping, plus tax, and all that stuff. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make these much the same way I did one of the other supports. I made a wooden buck and basically beat the metal around it to get the right shape. In this case, probably what I'm going to have to do is make it in two pieces. Split it here, make the back part, split it there, make the front part. So follow along. I'm going to make some wooden bucks and make subframe extensions for the two 5-window coupes, and actually for another project that we're going to have next year. We're trying to line up working on an original 32 Roadster that has to be pieced together. So I will make up 3 right-hand sides and 3 left-hand sides in this episode, okay? So here we are a day later. I went to my wood shop and made a pair of wooden bucks to make the subframe extensions. The first one is this one here. So there's the top half. There's the bottom half. Essentially took a flat piece of metal, cut it out. The first step was to basically form this bend, and I quite literally just stuck it in the vise and bent it until it resembled the shape of the original. Once it was bent into shape, I stuck it in the buck here. I clamped it over the edge. I put a bunch of C-clamps around it, and quite literally I just beat it around the edge. Now, because this edge had to shrink quite a bit, you can see a lot of dents there. I actually had to take it off, and then you basically buckle it, knock the buckle out, the dent out, and then flatten it out again. And you just keep working it around there until you shrink this edge and it comes up straight. So that's the top half of it, right there. It's a pretty good resemblance of the original one. And then the bottom half was a similar situation. I made a top half. There's actually an indentation here where it dips down, right here. So the first thing I did, I cut out a flat pattern, and then I rolled this edge on the bead roller there, so it's got a step into it. The step section basically lined up on the bottom part. Put the top piece onto it. Again, used all my C-clamps. You can never have enough clamps. Clamped it in and beat the edge down. I still have to trim this edge. You can see it's pretty rough here. I'm going to smooth that out some, but I'll smooth this edge up. And then we have the bottom half. Right there. And the top half, there's the bottom half. It does need to be trimmed before it's welded together, so I'm just going to play around here, bend the edges up a little bit, and you can see in the corner here I've got to, like when Brookville makes them, they actually have like a little joint there. Same thing. I'll do the same thing with this. I'll cut a little pie cut there, weld those two pieces together, and then I have to repeat this I think six or 8 times. But that's, once it's all trimmed up, that's our first sub-rail extension. I didn't try it on another one. This is the first one. So not very hard when you want to make something. If it's a certain shape, make a piece of wood the shape you want to make it in and beat the metal around it. Watch along and I'll show you the finished products here shortly. I have put together two of the sub rail extensions now for the Roadster. Here you can see they're pretty much the same. For a sanity check, all we have to do is take this over to the Roadster quarter panel. And it's about as good a fit as what the Brookfields are. What'll happen when these get welded in, they actually get pushed over and welded up against the side of the quarter panel. So these are ready, two of these are ready to go. The one thing I discovered, much to my disappointment, and I probably should have known, is that the 5 windows are not the same as the Roadsters. So I've made up these extra sets. Like I said, we're planning on having an original Roadster here next year to build or resurrect or whatever. So these are still good. If anybody needs a set of Roadster, sub-rail extensions, sub-rail extensions, send us a message. I've got 3 sets now. On to the 5-window. So what I did, instead of copying a set of 5-window sub-rail extensions, we're making them from scratch. So essentially, it's the same process, but in this case, I made a paper pattern. That fits inside here. And then over on this side, I've made the forward section. It's just a little bit longer. And I think we're using actually a Roadster floor in this one by the looks of things. Not sure if there's a difference between a Roadster floor and a 5-window floor, but I've got a Roadster floor here. So I modified the wood buck to suit this shape. So basically, cut it down. These wood bucks will only last probably 3, 4, 5 sets until you beat the crap out of them. So here, I've made my sets up. I'm going to make a set up here for the 5-window in a couple minutes. I bent my first piece, and then I'll do the same thing with this as what I did earlier on in the video for the Roadster sub-rail extensions. I'm having a hard time pronouncing those this morning. I'm sorry about that. But I'll show you the finished product here in a few minutes. I'll beat them up the same way and weld them together. And so here we are. I finished off my complete sets of Roadster subframe extensions. I've actually got a couple extra sets now. We have the ones we're going to use on the Roadster here. I've got a set for the original Roadster we're going to get next year, and then I've got an additional set over on the 5-window. Oops. Over on the 5-window, I've completed the one side. Actually, I completed both sides. So here is the sub-rail extension for the 5-window on the inside. It's all fit. And then here's the one for the other side. Now, the other side can't be completely fit because I don't have the corner in place and the wheel well, so I made it. But I'll show you the difference between the two. So that's would be for a 5-window. And that would be a Roadster. So there is quite a bit of difference in the shape. Should have known that when I started, but that's it. So I guess the point of the video is if you have some piece of sheet metal that you need, you can go buy it. If you've got the sheet metal and the time and the will, you can make really whatever you need to make. So that's our video on making sub-rail extensions for the 32 Roadster and the 5-window coupe. If you have any questions, shoot us a message. Please like, share, and subscribe. Everybody have a good one. Take care.